affordability and supply will hold us back from getting kind of much higher than what we see on that level.
Great. What about you, Dina?
I'm going to say a lot more of the same as well. I'll be honest, I went into 2020 being concerned about a presidential election. I know I was glad that Steve kind of talked about that. But at the same time, the stock market's it's performing. So maybe that won't matter as much. And we had a little lunch discussion where I grilled Jordan and I said, listen, in 2016, at least in our market, what we were seeing was it was flat. Nothing happened in 2016. It was a terrible market. At least for us, it was the luxury sector. And a lot of that was because the beginning of the year, there were no stock market gains. Spring hit and Brexit was voted on, and then we got into the fall, and it was a highly controversial election with a lot of uncertainty. We all know markets do not like uncertainty, and I think when you get into the luxury sector of the market, I think that the component here that's really important to understand is that no buyer has to buy. It's very different from a family who's trying to get into a school system, somebody who's moving here for a job and has to have shelter. Sure, they can rent, but they'd rather own. They don't want to put that money down the toilet renting. In my sector, in the luxury sector, vast majority of those buyers are second, third, fourth, fifth homeowners. And it is a want, not a need, and they can sit back and wait. And if there's uncertainty, they're definitely sitting back. But what's fascinating is that just the end of 2019 was robust. The beginning of 2020 has been incredible. And what we're seeing, not just in our office, but in all the agents that we're talking to, is again, is product matters, and that these people have a lot of money. And at the end of the day, if the house that they want, if they still haven't found something else that's come on, then you know what? They'll just pay up. They'll just do it. They'll pay the seller's price. But if it's not a product that they want, they're not trying to figure out how to get it unless it's a really good buy. But I'd say that's the exception. And so my prediction is that we're going to see more of the same trends, and hopefully the election doesn't buck those.
Okay, so you guys want to stay up here for some? Okay, great. So just a few quick things. So I am also of the belief that we're going to have a active market here this year. Part of that is based on what we were just talking about, how active January has been, and we're not seeing the indicators of that slowdown yet, and so that made me more optimistic. Dee and I were meeting with the MLS committee a couple months ago, and I think we both were far more conservative, and they were kind of worried that we were going to share some doom and gloom. So I think we're far more optimistic today with how the market has responded the last 2 months. And so that's great. I do think that we're going to continue to see concern about the market peak from buyers. So you want to be able to have your scripts and have your objection handlers. And I think Jordan gave us the right tool there as you really emphasize long-term home ownership. Look at those long graphs. I'm going to bring one up where you can see what the market has done over the long term and really focus on that. And those interest rates are so phenomenal right now. And so really focus on the cost of housing over the long term and what that's going to do for their financial future. I think that's one of the biggest education processes that we can bring in right now. I would agree with Jordan. I would predict single-digit appreciation. I think it's probably going to be comparable to last year, so 4 or 5% probably. And then I do think that's going to be that steady growth, not like what we saw in 2002 to 2005, and then again in 2012 to 2015, specifically in our area. And then one of my predictions is that we're going to see this lengthening of the appreciation cycle. So we're used to these 6 to 9 year up cycles in Santa Barbara and 3 to 5 year down cycles. I think that this time we're going to see as long of an up cycle as our last one or longer, partly because of what I referenced earlier about, we're making more informed decisions. We don't have these stated income loans as much. We don't have as many of these adjustable rate mortgages. People are just making more conservative decisions. And so I think that we're going to see that the market appreciation rate, be more gradual, but it's also this healthier, steadier appreciating market that when it does correct, I think it's going to be a softer correction and then continue to go up after that correction. So I'm excited for the healthier market, maybe not for my real estate portfolio in the short term, but for my real estate portfolio in the long term, and for I just think the industry that we're in, I think it's very healthy to be in this. This is that 29-year price trend. So as we're talking to our clients, getting them out of, as Jordan mentioned, this 2-year buying mentality into a longer-term homeownership mentality, I think this is a phenomenal one. And then here would be my possible predictions for the next 10 years there. So this kind of more gradual appreciation line coming out another 1, 2, 3 years potentially, with then a 2 to 3 year kind of adjustment depending on what happens, and then again more of a gradual uptick after that. And then just lastly, I just want to, Dina would echo these same things, is we are not powerless. We can influence our market, and I hope that you walk out feeling that empowerment, that it's not just about what happens with the presidential election. It's not just what happens with the economy. We can control that, and one of the metrics we can control is how we educate our sellers and the scripts we use there. We can create pricing in our urgency, and then do what you're doing today. Stay connected not only to local agents, but Jordan brings a great California perspective. We can do that with the other agents in the California markets and across the nation. So if you aren't involved in any groups of other agents, you need to be involved so you can get that pulse on the market, because the trend that Beverly Hills is experiencing today might be the trend that we experience tomorrow, right? And we need to have that data and vice versa. So I hope that helps. And any other comments, Dina, Jordan?
Good job.
Agreed.